So, we are continuing a series of talks on the 6 cards of the Minor Arcana. The 6 cards in the suits, the Minor Arcana of the Sacred India Tarot, they are not different in meanings from any other tarot. 6 card in the suit is the 6 card in the suit. We've already spoken about the fire element and the earth element. We will now speak about the water element. The cups, which in the Sacred India Tarot is the lotuses, because lotus is the highest spiritual symbol in the culture. It grows out of water. All those obvious reasons. The water element, the water tattva. Now this card is known in the tarot, classical tarot, as nostalgia. Now nostalgia means dwelling in happy memories of the past. In many cases that past is imagined, that past is reconstructed, you know, because there is quite a sad downside to a breathtakingly common statement that I hear from people all across the world, and I feel very depressed when I hear that, because they don't realize the implications of what they are saying. And that statement is, the happiest time of my life was my childhood. If the happiest time of your life was your childhood, then you have failed. Childhood is supposed to prepare you for adult experiences, adult pleasures. If the happiest time of your life was your childhood, you never had an adult experience, you never had an adult triumph, you never had an adult joy and happiness. So it's a rather sad thing to say. It's a rather depressing thing to say, and I really do not encourage people to go there. But I think in most cases, what they do mean is that it was a time of no responsibility. Not being responsible in any way, not having to take effort in any way, always able to depend on somebody else to come and rescue you. People sort of think that is happiness. How can that be happiness? That is immaturity. That's that's refusal to grow up. That's not happiness. That's not in any sense an adult vibration or something that is a goal, that to recreate the halcyon days of childhood where, one was so free and one was so. So I do not encourage that aspect. Nostalgia has a positive healing vibration because the thought that there were happy times enable us to push through difficult times, that they are not always this way. So that is why when people got married, they were sent off on honeymoons, because they were, in the early days, they didn't know enough about each other. Their various personality traits did not grate against each other as yet. And when the inevitable difficulties in the relationship came up, they would always remember that there were happy times when they were happy and pleased with each other. It was a positive use of nostalgia. It was psychologically astute. So the memory of positive times, which is what nostalgia is, enables us to push through difficult times. So in that sense, it is psychologically very astute. In this case, Parvati is doing sadhana. She is doing very intense sadhana, intense tapasya to get Shiva, and she is doing it with the kind of trust and faith that only children can have. She is doing it, that even Jesus had said that those who are like children come into the kingdom of heaven. So there is not to be childish. There is a difference between being childish, which means psychologically immature, and being childlike, which means that you maintain that flexibility and that innocence and that openness and that plasticity to new experiences. So all that is actually indicated in this card, because this is the high point of the emotional and the psychological transformation. So all that is indicated in that nostalgia, that happiness, that joy that we feel, that love that we feel. That in a sense, we do have very happy memories of childhood. It's always there when we meet old school fellows, and then you rehash everything that happened to you, and you just sort of block out all the painful and nasty episodes that happened, and you remember only the good things. So it's a very astute, but that is not actually what the card is saying. In spiritual terms, which is actually the only real thing I am personally interested in the tarot. Yes, there are so many readings that help in life, but in spiritual terms, what this means is retain that childlike mindset, retain that childlike space within yourself, retain that childlike intensity, retain that childlike. Because childhood is an extraordinary time. You pick up new languages, you learn immense amount of things, and over time we become rigid. Not just physically, we become rigid emotionally, we become rigid mentally. So when this card comes up, if we can keep that quality of being childlike, that is very important. Unfortunately, in practical terms, to those not in sadhana or to those who haven't done the psychological integration, this card comes when they are acting childishly. They are so enamored by a memory of a supposed golden time that they went through, that they are full of rage and bitterness at how life has let them down. You meet people like that. I am the only good person in my entire environment. I was golden, I was wonderful, I was so happy, and I was so magnificent, and I was so beautiful, and then unfortunately I got married, or this change happened, and see now how the universe is not recognizing the sheer magnitude of luck it has in that I deigned to be manifested it. So there is that problem. There is that very clear aspect where the people are refusing to do the work of transformation. They are waiting for the external environment and the external people to transform and change, and then they will step up to the plate and they will oblige. And a lot of people complain that their life is not changing. This is the reason why, because they are convinced of their own virtue and goodness. Everybody else falls short. Everybody else is not worthy. And for such a high energy card, it's really tragic that it comes up in a reading for a person manifesting the shadow side. Where you feel that I am the only good person and everybody else is not deserving of me. So one needs to be really, really careful that one is not getting into that sort of smug self-satisfaction, which is a unique problem, it is quite a common problem actually. There are especially people who self-label themselves as spiritual. I am such a spiritual person, I am such a kind person, I am such a compassionate person, and I just get no appreciation, and I just get no support, and how bad everybody is. And when they come in a reading, now I'm not talking about people in process or people who are integrating themselves, I'm talking about the average person who comes to a reading. Nobody comes for a reading because their life is going swimmingly well. They come because their life is in trouble. And the minute this card comes up, all right, you're going to have that litany of how my people and my family and my destiny has failed the magnificence that is me. But that is not the purpose of the card. It is such a tremendously high energy card. The advice in that is so beautiful. The advice in that is so transformative. And people don't take that, unfortunately. It's just a misstep. It's just a misstep. This very often people misunderstand this card. People misunderstand this card in terms of nostalgia. So does that mean that my answer lies in the past? No. Your answer never lies in the past. Your answer lies right now. Your answer lies in what actions you take in the current moment. Your answer can never be in the past. And sometimes it also it means that the person is consistently going back and reliving certain incidents or episodes. They become very compulsive about it. So that since it's water is fluid. Whichever way you push it, it takes the shape of the container that you hold it in. If your mind is in a certain way, the emotions will also become like that. So people don't understand that just by changing the way you're thinking about it, you can actually make your emotions different. People don't understand, it's that simple. So, in a sense, this is a paradoxical card in that it is such a spiritually transformative and high energy card, and usually you find people who are stuck in quicksand. So, it's at least for people who work with the Sacred India Tarot, they should be very clear about the potency and the power in this card. They should not fall into that shadow trap. Yeah? Sarvam Shri.